guys, it's Amy Updike. So on Instagram a few days ago, I made a post saying that I would answer any questions that you guys wanted to ask. So I'm going to go ahead and do a Q&A right now. So the first question is, what are the doses for the NLA products that you take? So you guys have probably heard me talking a lot about the fat burning stack that I absolutely love. And the three products that I really use the most for those are the Shred Her, the Her CLA, and the Her Carnitine. So the Shred Her is meant to be taken first thing in the morning and then a second one in the middle of the day. Or you can take one or two of them just right before your workout instead of taking it in the other times. The Her CLA is meant to be taken twice a day with meals. The Her Carnitine is meant to be taken once a day. I usually take that with breakfast. So those are those three. I also use the Her Aminos. I use them between 2 and 3 times a day, usually post-workout or first thing in the morning or right before bed. Kind of depending on what my diet's like. The more strict my diet is, the more I am going to be using the Her Aminos to make sure I'm going to be able to recover my muscles adequately. The Her Whey is the protein powder, which I absolutely love. The blueberry muffin is just amazing. They just, got it out of the ballpark with that one. So that one's my new favorite. If you haven't tried the blueberry muffin, you have to try it. I will either drink that as a protein shake, because as a busy mom on the go, it's so much easier to just slam a protein shake than trying to eat a meal while I'm driving or something like that. But I also will use it in my other foods like Greek yogurt or oatmeal to kind of just make it taste a little bit better. So I will use it those ways. I usually use 1.5 to 2 scoops of the Her Whey, because 2 scoops is a full serving. I also use the Her Multi. I like the chews. So I use the Her Multi, the Her Superfood, and the Appetite Control, and I just usually take one of those a day for each of those. And then I am a huge fan of Her Omegas. I think every woman should be taking Omegas. Omegas have such important roles in joint health, brain health, like mental health as well as cardiovascular health. So Omegas are super important, and I take 2 of those every single day, like morning and night. Healthy Her is the hair, skin, and nails, and I use that twice a day, morning and night. And those are the main ones that I use pretty much every day. The fat burning stack I would kind of cycle on and off of. It's recommended to use the Shred Her for 3 months in a row, and then to take like a 2-week break. The reason for that is Shred Her is a stimulant, and the other two, the Her CLA and the Her Carnitine, are not stimulants. You actually don't have to take a break from the other two, but the Shred Her, it's recommended to take a break. So those are how I use the NLA for Her products. The next question is, can a guy use Shred Her? And the answer to that is yes. And I actually have given a few bottles to a couple of friends of mine. One was a really big bodybuilder guy, and he loved it for his contest prep. It helped him to burn fat, to sweat more, gave him more energy, and he said it was great. The other friend was a men's physique competitor who was smaller, also really loved it. It's great because it's dosed for women, meaning that it's not going to be super hardcore, make your heart race, make you jittery, make you crash, that kind of a supplement. It's really just, it's mild, it's natural, and it's very effective, but it does not make you feel like crap. So it's great for women, but men can use it too. The next question is diastasis recti, if I ever had it, and if I did, how did I fix it? So diastasis recti is an issue that happens after pregnancy for women where their abs have separated too much and are having a very hard time coming back together. It's normal during pregnancy for the abs to separate to make room for the growing baby in your abdomen, but if it spreads too far apart, it can have a hard time coming back together, leaving a gap in the middle, and you can feel that when you're trying to do any sort of exercises. You can feel like a bulging in between where your abs should be separated, be together right here in the middle. So I personally did not ever have diastasis recti. I know some women who have and who have been able to slowly improve that. So one of the big no-nos during pregnancy is working out your abdomen, like doing crunches or very, very aggressive like ab workouts during pregnancy. Anytime after about 15 or 16 weeks, you should just kind of stop doing ab workouts. So if you are still doing ab workouts during pregnancy, you are most likely going to be causing more damage than good as far as the muscles. The muscles are already separating. So if you're trying to work them out, they don't know what to do. And sometimes that will actually cause them to separate more. So after pregnancy, I personally like to take a nice 6 months of just kind of letting things come back together on their own, very gentle ab exercises. I'll stand up and hold my abdomen very tight to try to hold, to kind of exercise that way, just by pulling in and holding it tight, or laying on the floor and pulling my belly button down towards my spine. And then very slowly, as I kind of ease into it, I'll start to kind of do a crunching up motion and just kind of squeeze and hold while keeping my belly button towards my spine. Those are kind of the best ways to kind of very slowly get back into it. I've heard that doing planks is very effective when you're recovering from diastasis recti. But of course, it's one of those things that I'm not a specialist in. So if you're having issues with that, talk to your doctor. The next question is, can you take Shred Her and her carnitine together? And the answer to that is yes, you absolutely can, and it's recommended to do so. When taken, Shred Her, when taken with her carnitine and her CLA, that's when you're going to see the most benefit. So it's most effective when they're taken together. Next question is, do I use Uplift and Shred Her at the same time? And the answer to that is yes. Depending on how much caffeine I'm allowing myself to take in, I will absolutely use Shred Her first thing in the morning, in the middle of the day, and then I'll use Uplift right before my workouts only. So if I'm really trying to cut back on caffeine though, I'll choose one or the other, or I will use the Her Amino Burner, which is a newer product. It's a fat burner with amino acids in a drink. And that's nice because it has less caffeine than the pre-workout, so you can kind of cut back a little bit that way. But when I'm in the deep of contest prep and I am needing all that caffeine because my energy's low and I'm tired and I'm working, I use both. So you can take them together depending on your caffeine tolerance. I first got into fitness when my daughter was 11 months old. I actually have told this story through bodybuilding.com, so there's actually a link to that video. It's on YouTube, in my information on YouTube. But if you want to watch that video, it's really awesome. I'm very happy with how they did it. However, but I got into fitness. I was just in a slump. I was really struggling after having my first baby, in the worst shape of my life, still wearing maternity pants at almost 1 year postpartum, and I really just didn't know what to do. I just knew that I did not like where I was at. I wasn't happy. My energy was low. I was depressed, and I knew that I had it in me to be better than I was. I knew that there was a way for me to be in way better shape, and I wanted that so bad. And so I hired a personal trainer who taught me what to eat, and how to lift weights. I would see him once a week, and he taught me how to lift weights, and it was just amazing. The effect just started to come. I started to see my body change, and I was so empowered by the ability that I had to take control of my body and my health and create change. So after that, basically, I was hooked and addicted, and I just have fallen in love with fitness, and it's been such a huge part of my life ever since, and that was just over 4 years ago. So my daughter is now almost 5.5, so it's been really great. But like I said, that guy did give me a nutrition plan, and how did I know which foods or workouts were most beneficial for my body? I basically just took that trainer's word for it. He told me what foods to eat, and they were basically all healthy, whole foods, very few processed foods, lots of vegetables. I had fruits every day, and then high protein. And basically, I knew that it was all working, the workouts and the nutrition, because my body was changing and I was seeing such great results. So that's something to pay attention to, is if it's working, you will see change or feel change. A question is, any advice for getting abs? How to know if what I'm doing with nutrition is right or not? So as most people know, having abs is about 80 or 90% how much you're dieting. If you have fat covering your abs, you won't be able to see your abs no matter how strong or defined your abs are underneath the fat. So the key to having abs, or the look of abs, is to cut the fat. So dieting is important. You're probably going to have to also implement some cardio depending on your body. Some people don't have to do very much to be able to burn the fat, but some people do have to do cardio. So you'll know if your diet is on point if you're seeing change about every week or two, depending on how much you have to lose. It might be closer to every 2 weeks, and if you are smaller, you should be seeing change about every week. That's why it's so important to take progress pictures, so you can kind of gauge and measure your progress. What is the difference between her CLA and her carnitine? And do you take both at the same time? Since I've already answered that, yes, I take them both at the same time. Her CLA is a fatty acid, and her carnitine is a amino acid. So these two things work differently, but they both tell your body to utilize your fat storages as energy and also to help your body to build lean muscle. Neither of them have stimulants in them. So they work differently in the body, but they're really great when taken together. Okay, somebody else asked, can I still eat 200 plus grams of carbs and high fats to build muscle? As most people know, the most important factors in building muscle are high protein, usually high carb. Doesn't have to be high carb, but in certain circumstances, high carb is better. And then also heavy weightlifting. The more resistance you're putting against the muscle, the more the muscle has to grow to be able to lift the weights. So I personally don't think that eating high fat and high carb is always necessary unless you don't mind gaining a lot of body fat with that. But if you're trying to stay pretty lean while you're building muscle, you may want to keep your fats on the lower side. Okay, the next question is, this woman had her baby 10 months ago, lost all the weight and more, but she is still dealing with the loose skin and mama pouch. Any advice? She focuses on core 1 time a week and does some core work on leg day. My best advice is give your body a little bit more time. So the more time you give your body, the more that your skin is going to tighten up. The slower you gain weight during pregnancy, the slower the skin stretches, the more effective it's going to be at tightening back up again after pregnancy. If you gain a lot of weight very quickly, the skin stretches very quickly and it can make it loose permanently. With every pregnancy, it's very, very normal to have some loose skin after pregnancy. I almost don't know any woman who doesn't. When I get really lean, even though it's been 18 months, I still have some loose skin on my lower abdomen. Like if I bend over in certain ways, you can totally see it. That is just a reality of momhood, and there's no shame in it. It's normal. Every woman has it. So have realistic expectations. If you're expecting it to be the way it was before you ever got pregnant, maybe just don't expect that. But you can tighten things up slowly, give your body more time, make sure your diet's on point, and just hope for the best. Another huge factor is genetics. So genetically, if your skin is gonna tighten up, it will. Otherwise, some women just really struggle with that, which is why some women resort to tummy tucks and things like that, because sometimes the skin just doesn't go away. Okay, lots more questions on supplements. Okay, supplements while breastfeeding or while pregnant. This is a great one, and I get this so much. So while pregnant, I really am a firm believer that less is better as far as supplements goes. It's not worth risking, and there's so few supplements that are proven to be completely safe during pregnancy that I really, really advise not using very many supplements during pregnancy. As you probably already know, all stimulant supplements are pretty much out while pregnant. So no pre-workout, no fat burners, anything that's going to give you energy or burn fat should be off limits. That goes for breastfeeding as well. Whatever you take in, your baby is getting as well, whether you're pregnant or you're breastfeeding. And so you don't want your baby burning fat. You don't want your baby having lots of energy. You just want to just keep things normal and natural. Better for baby, better for sleep cycle. Not worth risking anything for either of those. The only thing that I did differently, so during pregnancy, I took the protein powder, not in large amounts, but I tried to get most of my protein from Whole Foods. But I would use the protein powder about like a half a scoop or 1 scoop, every day or two. And I would take the omegas. The her omegas are very important in baby's brain development. So during pregnancy and breastfeeding, I took the her omegas. I took the her multi. And I would take the her aminos occasionally. I wouldn't take those like real religiously or anything. So those are the safe ones for pregnancy and breastfeeding. Those 4 that I just mentioned. And then towards the end of breastfeeding, I then added back in her CLA, her carnitine, and the hair, skin, and nail supplement. But I did not add that back in while the baby was under 6 months. Okay, another question about supplements and breastfeeding. Hopefully I answered all those questions. Okay, so a picture that I posted on Instagram was of me at my leanest point this September around the time of the Olympia. I had the best abs that I've had post-second baby, and somebody asked, to get this lean in your training, what kind of cardio did you do and for how long? So anyone who follows me on Snapchat or on Instagram stories knows that I really love using a cardio bike. I keep a bike at home. I can do it anytime. That way, if the babies are sleeping, the kids are sleeping, I can do it during nap time. I can do it at nighttime. I can do it early in the morning, and I don't have to leave home. To me, that just makes a lot of sense. It doesn't take up much room, and it's lightweight. I can move it up and down the stairs if I have to. So I personally was doing 30 minutes of fasted cardio because I like to get it out of the way first thing in the morning and then have the rest of the day to focus on other things. So I was doing 30 minutes of fasted cardio about 6 days a week, and I had great results with that. As you know, everyone's bodies and metabolisms are very, very different. Some people, some women especially, will have to do a lot more cardio to see change. Some people don't have to do any cardio, and as long as their diet's on point and they're training hard enough, they have great results. So it really depends on your body, but I would say if you're trying to start really seeing some change in fat loss, start with maybe like 20 or 25 minutes of cardio 4 to 5 times a week and move up from there depending on how things are going. But if you're being really religious about cardio 4 or 5 days a week, even in small amounts, you should be seeing some change. Okay, another question is, if I could only take one NLA for her supplement to lose fat, what would it be? And which one would give the best results? So, I would say the Shred Her. The Shred Her is the stimulant, fat burner, but it is mild and natural, and I love it. It gives great energy. It boosts the sweat during the workout, and it really does help to burn fat all day long throughout the day. So that would be the one thing that I would use. And that is all. Thank you guys so much for all of your questions. I'll be doing this again probably in another week or 2. Love getting your questions. If you have any other questions, feel free to post them on the comments on this YouTube video. Thank you guys so much, and see you next time.